Hi everyone, in this quick video I want to show you how to use the clone tool, also known as the healing tool. Well, there are certain differences between the two. I'd like to show you in this quick video using Lightroom CC. Now, before we begin, if you're watching this on say Instagram, I'll get you to tap on that little button that says watch full video in IGTV. And also, if you're watching this in YouTube on your mobile device, please rotate vertically so you can see this full screen. Okay, let's begin. Let's switch over to the image that we're going to use as an example. Okay, so the image is this one that I took in San Miguel de Allende in this past workshop in Mexico. And I absolutely love this shot because the man, I don't even know if he knew I was photographing him. I just saw him and I said, that is the most striking gentleman I've ever seen. I absolutely loved the way he looked, especially how mysterious he looked in the deep shadow. Now, I actually polled people and I asked them, would you take out the light in this picture or would you keep it in? Now, I know that it is somewhat distracting. For me, actually, I don't take out anything in street photos, so I consider this a street photo, so I did not erase it. However, if you want to, what we're going to do is, I'm just going to show you how to do it. We're going to go to healing, which is the bottom left. And when you're in healing, you have the option of going to the little Band-Aid or the clone stamp. Now, initially, you cannot go to the clone stamp, it's just healing. This is in the mobile version of Lightroom CC, and I'll explain that in a second. But essentially what we want to do is tap on this little feather. This is the second circle, okay? So I'm moving my finger, my index finger, up all the way. And you can, of course, use a touch-sensitive pen as well. Okay, now the next one is size. Now this is a little bit tricky because we want to make sure that we're big enough to cover the light stand and the light, of course. So I'm thinking size 80 is probably good for this. So the next thing I'm going to do is paint the light stand. Now I'm not doing the whole light, and you will see that I have an enormous amount of extra space surrounding the light. Now, the reason I did this is because I want to show you what happens when people use too much feather. And this often comes up. I get a lot of questions, say, Mark, I sort of have a 50% opacity of the very thing that I want to erase, okay? So what I'd like to do now is go back to feather, and what we're gonna do is reduce the feather, and I'd like to show you what happens. This is an example where we're taking the feather from 100%, and feather simply means the softness of the work that you're doing, okay? Now, do you see how it's actually looking pretty good when we take the feather down? We're reducing the feather now down to 26, and this looks pretty good. Now, we're not finished yet, of course. However, at the bottom right, I'm going to click on the check mark. Let's take a look. You know, that's not too bad. So what we're going to do is do a little bit of a cleanup. Now, I will say straight up that Lightroom CC is not nearly as good at clone stamping as other apps. You know, there's so many great apps for clone stamping. The one that I really like is Touch ReTouch. It's a fantastic app. And also Adobe has a really good one called Photoshop Fix. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to healing, and we are going to choose a small size. So I'm gonna go to the first little circle. I'm gonna reduce the size because we're only looking to, at first, get rid of this little speck. Now, what about feather? Let's try 50%. I usually advise my students to default at 50%, and then you can change after that if you so desire. Okay, so let's just do that and see what happens. Okay, we're gonna tap the check mark, which accepts the it accepts what you're doing. And this is okay. However, I find that it's just not absolutely perfect because I can see a little bit of remnant, you could say artifacts, but it's sort of a remnant, an opacity that, right here, by the way, that we want to get rid of. So what we're going to do is go back to healing. And did you see how we have the ability to tap on the very thing that we are adjusting? Okay, so we tapped once. Sorry, make it blue. And now we are going to fine tune our feather, okay? So let's take a look. When feather is at 100%, I feel that it's a little bit better. However, really interestingly, we can move the sample point anywhere we want. Take a look at this. Watch this. Isn't that interesting? So this is me manually moving the sample point. Now, let's take a look here. Okay, yeah, that's all looking good. Let's do the check mark just to check. And it's true that there's a little bit of artifacts there. So the question I have for you, what do we do about this post? Now, I will say from experience that Lightroom CC does not have the, what would you say, the technical ability to fine-tune erasing this post. At least it would take a long time. That's why I usually export such an image into another app. However, what I would like to do is sort of erase or get rid of the softness at the top of that post, because in reality, it wouldn't be that soft. So once again, and I'm doing this in 3 steps, usually you would do this in 2 or even 1, we're going to create one more go at this. But the thing is, I want to have a small brush, and I also want to make sure that there's not much feather. So I'm going to have a pretty sharp circle, okay? Now, let's just see what happens. I'm just going to cut pretty sharply, and I'm going to move the sample point around. Let's see what happens here. Now, you could argue that that is the normal top of the telephone pole. Okay, so here's the original, and here is my corrected version. I still see a little bit of what almost looks like smoke at the top of this pole. So it's not absolutely perfect. And so usually what I would do for fine tuning, again, because we're dealing with raw files, it's true that Lightroom CC suffers a little bit. If we go up here to the up arrow, we can actually go edit in, and we can choose maximum. And let's just I'll just do this just to show you. Actually, because I'm in my car, I don't have any Wi-Fi, so I'm going to cancel this. But I would like to tell you that it is very possible with this up arrow, you can open in or you can edit in any app that you want. So I would send it to Touch ReTouch or Photoshop Fix. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. And I sort of have, I'm at the end of my little video here because I'm trying to stay within 10 minutes for this so that IGTV will accept this video tutorial just for you. I would usually edit a little bit more on this picture. However, I'm just going to stop it right here, and hope you got a lot of this. And also, because this is a San Miguel photo workshop image, I just wanted to do a little plug for our upcoming San Miguel photo workshops, which is happening in 2020. And if you just check sanmiguelphotoworkshops.com, we have all the information. It's my teaching partner, James Wilson, and I, and we are looking forward to it. This is like year 12, and the students really get a lot out of it. And we would love to show you the best of Mexico while learning photography and also throwing in some editing as well. Okay, I hope that helped you guys. Please leave a comment below and just let me know if there's anything that you want to learn, and I will certainly do my best to choose the app that you want to learn or the process or anything you want. Okay, thanks.